Sin number 1, making unlawful pre-employment inquiries.
Do you have any children? If so, will you have any daycare problems?
That's a really interesting accent you have. Where were you born?
Inappropriate questions during interviews and other pre-employment contacts are a primary source of claims for discrimination. The courts generally assume that if you asked a question, you intended to use the answer as a factor in your hiring decision. Therefore, any questions about or references to protected categories like sex, age, race, national origin, or religion can later be used against you in a court in a discrimination claim. To the extent possible, we recommend standardizing the application and interview process. Ask all applicants fundamentally the same questions. Keep questions objective and focused on the job requirements. Sin number 2, delivering dishonest evaluations.
I'm giving you a satisfactory rating, and I think we both know what that means in the company.
Yeah, I gave her a good rating even though her work is poor, because a poor rating would make her feel demotivated.
Many managers and supervisors avoid the discomfort of delivering a poor review and instead cop out with a satisfactory rating. As a result, many legitimate actions taken against an employee based on poor performance can be questioned because the performance reviews say satisfactory. So set clear standards. If they are not met, just say so, and then support with specific examples. Sin number 3, too vague in discipline and performance write-ups.
I'm making a note here that we talked about your performance.
Sally, your work could really use some improvement.
Seriously, Jay's performance is unacceptable. I'm just going to spell it out. He's lazy.
Again, because of the desire to avoid unpleasantness, managers and supervisors will often write something on performance evaluations like, needs improvement. That's too vague. Does it mean the employee did a great job, but there's always room for a little improvement? Or does it mean that the employee did a terrible job? Or how about, talked to Sally about her performance and behavior? Was that to tell her how exceptional her performance and behavior were? And then we've got judgment words like lazy. Again, too vague. Offer documentation and give specific examples of the unacceptable behavior. Sin number 4, making rash disciplinary decisions.
That's it! I've had it! You're fired!
Maybe you will ultimately determine that firing is the appropriate thing to do, but this isn't the way to do it. First of all, an angry tirade, especially if in public, gets those I'm going to sue juices flowing. Second, you should never fire without carefully reviewing the circumstances with HR. You may, for example, want to conduct an investigation. You may need to review company policy or ascertain that the employee received a copy of the policy in question and knew the consequences of failing to follow it. You need to check and see if there are any contractual obligations, for example, a union contract or a handbook guarantee of progressive discipline. You give the opportunity to the employee to tell his or her side of the story. You make sure similarly situated employees have been treated the same. Sin number 5, making uninformed responses to medical leave requests.
You want what? You want bonding leave during our busiest season? I don't think so.
What? You want every Friday off? That's not going to happen.
Few supervisory situations are as frustrating and challenging as dealing with employee requests for medical leave. It's the Bermuda Triangle of FMLA, ADA, and workers' compensation. And it seems it's never convenient. But managers and supervisors have to curtail any frustration and respond professionally. The basic rule for managers and supervisors should be to contact HR when employees are going to miss work for reasons that might involve FMLA. You just don't want your managers and supervisors trying to manage FMLA leave. Sin number 6, not realizing the power of the supervisor.
I hope everyone will contribute generously to my charity.
Let's go out for a drink after work. Maybe we'll grab dinner.
Inviting an employee out for a drink after work may seem a simple gesture, but the employee may view it as an order. Especially if the request is repeated, it can always be viewed as coercion or harassment. Supervisors and managers are agents of the company, and when they engage in behavior that may be considered harassment, it's especially egregious because of the power that they have over their employees. Another aspect of supervisor's agent status is that if the supervisor knows, the company knows. The company can't say, "We weren't aware of the situation." So train supervisors and managers to be aware of situations in which they may be perceived to be exercising their power inappropriately. Sin number 7, not knowing and not enforcing policies.
Nobody in this department talks about salaries or benefits with each other, in other departments, or online. Understood?
I'm really busy now. Talk to me about the harassment stuff next week.
If you feel the work's not safe, you're free to leave anytime.
If supervisors don't know your policies and how to implement them, in spite of their best intentions, they'll be setting you up for a suit or a charge. Regularly review your policies with all supervisors and update them on all changes. Failure to train can also cause embarrassment in court. You're responsible for upholding these laws and you've never had any training in this area? Sin number 8, making wage hour blunders.
Tracy, make sure you stay by your phone during lunch today and bring your phone home so that you'll have it to take calls from the West Coast tonight.
We're out of overtime. Can you clock out and then set up for tomorrow?
You'll be working alongside our regular employees, but you new recruits are all independent contractors.
Wage and hour should be simple, but it just isn't. The most common problems are overtime, failure to track it, failure to pay it, and failure to include bonuses in the regular rate. Off the clock. You have to pay for all hours worked, even if the employee volunteers, and even if you've forbidden the employee to do the work. Misclassification. For example, calling employees exempt whose duties do not meet the criteria for exemption, and therefore not paying overtime. Independent contractors. Many employees who are labeled as independent contractors are actually employees who need to be paid overtime. Sin number 9, letting problems fester.
Teresa's crossing the line with her behavior. I'm sure she knows she's making me unhappy, but she'll figure it out.
Oh, that's just Jimmy. He doesn't mean any harm. He's just old school.
With bad behavior, it's always tempting to ignore the problem in hopes that the behavior will improve. That's not going to happen. And as time goes by, you appear to be condoning the behavior. You've known he was doing this for 6 months and you did nothing, and now suddenly it's a firing offense? Sin number 10, making side agreements.
Take this transfer, and I'll guarantee you a promotion at the end of the year.
Stay after you clock out for the next couple of weeks till we get the job done. I'll take care of it at the end of next month and give you some overtime.
Hey, look, I can't pay you for the work that you did, but what I can do is treat you and your wife to dinner on the company.
These agreements likely violate the law or company policy. For example, employees can't waive their right to overtime or pay for hours worked, even if they're eager to help out by doing a little work on the side without pay. 3 problems arise. 1, eventually there will be lawsuits. 2, employees will be left feeling that agreements haven't been honored. 3, other employees who didn't get the special treatment or privilege may sue. Okay, That's our top 10 sins of supervisors and managers. Avoid them and stay hassle and lawsuit free. Finally, for all of your HR hassles, we recommend hr.blr.com. This is Steve Bruce for the HR Daily Advisor.
That's it. I've had it. You're fired. It's too serious.